I am zero!
Lelouch Lamperouge from Code Geass is one of the smartest characters in anime. Similar to Light Yagami from Death Note, he is gifted with a superpower that allows him to order people to do anything as long as eye contact is established. He can't use this ability on the same person twice, however. In this video you will learn how to think strategically and tactically like Lelouch. These insights won't be in chronological order. Stratagem of the Suffering Flesh. In Season 2, Lelouch gains his memory back and realizes this Rollo character over here is not his real brother, and merely an agent used to keep an eye on him. So what does he do? He inflicts injury on himself to gain the trust of his enemy. He places himself in a situation where Rollo is attacked and places himself between the attack and the person, saving Rollo from actual death in this situation. In this way, he convinced him that even though they are not real brothers, however, the memories they shared were real to him. The stratagem doesn't have to be this extreme. Calculated acts of self-injury, self-abasement, self-prejudice can be effective in lowering people's guards. A person can place themselves in an awkward situation to make the other person at ease, for instance. Stratagem of the Suffering Flesh is a simulation stratagem, which means it is designed to convince the other person of something that's not real. The brotherly bond, for instance. In politics, the Taiwanese president Chui, I'm sorry if I tortured his name, was re-elected with a landslide after his failed assassination attempt. Companies often use this as well, by convincing you that their loss is your gain. They are taking one for the team. In this movie, we see stockbrokers dumping stocks because they know they are completely useless using this method.
We've got some risk over here that we need to move, so today it looks like my loss is your gain.
Jesus, where does this land?
96 on the dollar.
91.
All three and we're done at 94.
93 and a half.
Done.
Some insurance companies hire widows to convince married women to push their husbands to buy life insurance. The trick doesn't work without a little effort. The whole $1 annual payment for CEOs is a practice of this stratagem. CEOs often get paid with share or other means in order to escape taxes. By claiming financial self-injury, the $1, they stop their employees from complaining as well, hitting multiple birds with one stone. Feigning madness without losing balance. Again, after regaining his memory, he keeps a play of memory loss, so he can do things without suspicion. Madness here can be a feigned physical or mental disability or weakness, like loss of focus, memory loss, depression, hear loss, lack of linguistic ability, and so much more. It can also be in the form of feigned innocence, and even insignificance. A newly married German woman can pretend not to speak Japanese in order to understand the intentions of her mother-in-law. In violent situations, playing dead is a form of feigning madness without losing balance. Ignoring or forgiving people's mistakes is another one. In 1971, Henry Kissinger pretended to have stomach pain during his visit to Pakistan. He used this method to secretly take a flight to Beijing to prepare for Nixon's historic visit to China. In negotiations between a Japanese aircraft company and an American company, the highly qualified Americans were very confident and prepared well to explain their products and deal in a presentation style in order to impress the Japanese. However, after the American representative explained the report for 2.5 hours, he asked the Japanese representative what did he think. The other simply replied with a smile, "I didn't understand." The American representative was flustered and frustrated, but he asked again, "What didn't you understand?" And he told him, "I just didn't understand anything from the beginning." So the representative had to do the same thing all over. Then the Japanese asked him to repeat the whole report. By feigning madness while keeping a smile, the Japanese managed to drain the morale of the Americans and get them to lower their prices. If you want to get something done, ask for the help of a perfectionist. He or she will soon get tired of your feigned incompetence and do the work for you to spare their mental stability. Lelouch has a good understanding of the art of war. And we notice him using few ideas from Sun Tzu's book. Establish high ground. When soldiers raid a house or a place, they make sure to have air superiority, that the roof is under control. When fighting against Cornelius' army, he made sure to claim the high ground and give his soldiers the advantage. It takes less energy to travel downward than upwards. The same thing can be said about clarity. You can see more from upwards. Now he lured her army to attack him and then ambushed them by using the environment, causing a collapse and destroying most of her troops. He used this method multiple times throughout the series, luring enemies to the same location to ambush them. In Godfather 3, all bosses are summoned into a meeting in the same location and a failed assassination takes place. The aim is to take out many targets with one strike, so the other enemies won't have time to respond. Moreover, when crowds are attacked, panic takes place. The mentality of the masses takes over. Lelouch does the same thing by luring soldier units to the same place and causing the ground under their feet to collapse. This is why it's key to understand the topography and location. You have to study your environment. Let's say two people are doing negotiations. The person who is in their environment will have the advantage. They are naturally comfortable. This is why the superior makes sure to meet his inferiors in his office. A boss has and feels less power outside of the company. Start thinking in terms of moves that achieve multiple goals at the same time, and try to lure people to the best environment for you. Death Ground Stratagem. At one time in the series, Lelouch's army had low morale and his soldiers' trust in him was getting weaker and weaker. To unite them and raise their spirits, he placed them in Death Ground. He stationed them in the top of the mountain where they will be surrounded by enemy troops from all sides, and they will have no choice but to fight. Sun Tzu said, "In difficult ground, press on. In encircled ground, devise stratagems. In death ground, fight." A military commander by the name Cortez is famous for burning his ships in order to place the soldiers in death ground and force them to fight or die. You can place yourself there by giving yourself a deadline to do a task. By limiting your options, you will be more likely to do something. This is one of the reasons why people procrastinate. They abandon their tasks until the last moment. When they manage to get the task done eventually, they feel a high in a way, because they escaped barely from disaster. Take yourself seriously and place yourself in death ground from time to time. There are many more examples of how Lelouch thinks and strategizes that I haven't mentioned, to keep the door open for a second part. One day. If you like this video, leave a like and watch my other videos that aren't anime related. You can watch my video on Logic over here or Death Note over here. I'll see you there. Stay sharp.